Well, this afternoon is tent time, and I set up my Thermarest X-Therm here in my Nemo, and as I was doing that, I noticed some issues. It looks like maybe a few problems with the seam tape in here and in the corner, and then on this corner, and this is at the foot of the tent, there is a support that they added in the latest model, and it's actually broken through here. So, not wild about that. Of course, there's dirt in my tent. There's always dirt in the tent. And then on the Rainfly, I'm having a lot of problems also with the seam tape looking like it's coming loose. So I'm not sure what's up with that. I've barely used this tent. That is the seam tape all along the vestibule. When I finished the AT, my old Nemo had some issues and they replaced it under warranty because I was getting water up through the floor, and they said there was a problem with the fabric. So it was wonderful of Nemo to replace it, but at the time they said if you wait a few weeks we can get you a brand new, I believe it was 2019 version of the tent. And I said that's fine, I don't have any backpacking plans, so go ahead and send me the new tent. When they did, unfortunately it looked like it had been kind of rushed from the factory, and even still I'm finding threads hanging down over here. The first time I used it, the mesh tore right in the corner here where the attachment is to the Rainfly. So I sent it back because I wasn't happy with the quality, and they did make some repairs, but I'm a bit concerned now as I get ready for the PCT that this tent itself, not all Nemo tents, but this one in particular, might not be up to the task of a 2,600 mile through hike. I was already planning to set up my little Skyscape trekker and just check it out one more time because this is a 1 pound tent. I bought this one secondhand, so I'm actually not sure what year 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐽𝐻 Designs, or what years, plural, 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐽𝐻 Designs was making this tent. They don't do a Dyneema tent anymore. And at one point they had told me that they were thinking about restarting, but I don't believe they have. Last check they didn't. So this is basically the Skyscape trekker that you can get in I believe it's still nylon, but this one's Dyneema, which makes it super light. And of course, it's very tempting to take a 1 pound tent, but the first time I slept in it, I didn't love it. So it was better than I thought, but I was a little concerned, and that's been a couple of years. So pulling it out again, I'm like, this actually doesn't look too bad for the PCT. The downside is it only has one door right here on this side, but you can open up the Rainfly on both sides, so you can unstake it here, and there's little snaps. You could just open it up to mesh completely on both sides of the tent, which would be perfect for warm weather desert camping. It's basically single wall hybrid, I guess. This panel right here is just single wall, so I could get some condensation on that panel running down towards the feet, but not all over the whole tent because the sides are double wall. It does use my trekking poles, and as you can see, my Thermarest fits in there quite nicely. I'm a little uncertain about the rest of my gear. It's kind of a long, skinny tent, so I don't know if you can see down at the head, there's a little bit of space for some stuff there. Could probably put my backpack next to me. The vestibules are a little on the small side. And another thing you might notice is that the pitch of this is kind of high off the ground, and I wouldn't want to get wet. It can be adjusted to be somewhat lower. At the foot of the tent, the bathtub floor is attached to the Rainfly with some elastic that's gotten stretched out, and I think that's part of the reason it's so low there, but that could be a real problem in rain or blowing snow on the PCT. I feel like this would be a great summer tent, but I'm definitely wary about using it in colder weather. So after looking at my tent options, and of course being very disappointed that I couldn't bring the Nemo or the Skyscape trekker, since I'd like to have a small light tent. There's a squirrel trying to crash my video, sorry. I reached out to Nemo and they agreed to have me send the tent back for inspection. And when they got it, they said, yeah, that shouldn't be happening. And initially they just offered me a store credit to use for some other item from Nemo. And I was like, wait, that's not gonna work for me. I'm getting ready to start the PCT in 2 weeks. I need you to either repair or replace it. If you can't do that, just send me the tent back and I will do my best to just DIY the fixes and get ready for the trail. After a little bit of back and forth, they said, yes, we're sorry that we didn't realize that you needed the tent right away for the PCT. We don't have any in stock, of course, because they're not to be found anywhere, but they do have some coming in the next few weeks. So I ultimately will have to start the PCT without my Nemo, but I will get it replaced and be able to have a Hornet on the trail, which will be a nice, I call it my little greenhouse. I do like that tent an awful lot when it's not, you know, having problems, obviously. So for the record, I did a video when I first got it and I talked about how great the Nemo tents have been. I still feel that way. I just think, unfortunately, I got a dud. And I'm excited to see what the new one is like, and hopefully it won't have any problems, and it will give me many, many good miles of backpacking. In the meantime, I didn't feel comfortable taking the Trekker because I have an early start and I'm concerned about weather, and I definitely don't want wind and rain and snow blowing up underneath the rain fly, which I was not able to get low enough for my comfort. And I also do not have the time to try to fix those elastic straps on the foot to try to get the edge of the bathtub floor to come up. It's only about probably 2.5, 3 inches tops. So it's not a deep floor to begin with, and I just don't feel confident that I've got the time to make that happen. So a friend of mine, a co-worker from REI, who's an awesome guy and a gear geek like me, I went into his tent closet and pulled out one that we set up the other day, took a nice look at it, let me play with it, and it's the 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐜𝐫𝐢𝐻 1. This is the very first version that came out. It was done with drop.com, so it's the drop plus 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐜𝐫𝐢𝐻. It is not the Dynamo version, it's still poly, but it's a really nice tent, has a huge vestibule, tiny. It's narrower, I think, than the Skyscape Trekker. Bill kindly agreed to let me borrow that for the first couple weeks on the PCT until I can get my Nemo replacement tent. And so that's the plan. I'm going to be trying out a brand new tent. I am very intrigued by the 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐜𝐫𝐢𝐻 line. They're coming out with the 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐜𝐫𝐢𝐻 Pro 2, or 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐜 2 Pro, I guess is the correct name, and that is a Dynamo version of the larger tent. So I'm definitely going to be taking a look at that when it's available. They go fast. I'm on the waiting list, so we'll see what happens there. But many, 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 many thanks to you, Bill, for making sure that I've got some kind of shelter on the PCT, and I can't wait to get out there and get started. So thank you for hanging out with me while I have been prepping for the trail and through my initial stages of van life, which I hope to be coming back to in about 5 months with 2,600 miles under my boots. Or shoes, my trail runners. Yeah, I'm excited about that. I've really enjoyed van life. I absolutely love my van, and I'd love to show you more of that, although I apologize I haven't been able to get all of the videos up. I just haven't had time to edit as much as I would like and train and get my life in order and all those good things. Thank you for watching, and if you like what you've seen, please go ahead and subscribe so you'll find out about new videos as they come out while I'm out on the trail. And if you want to support my hiking, I am on Patreon, so you can do that, or just tell a friend. And love it if you just spread the word.